All right, good afternoon, everybody. And thank you very much for your patience. It's been a long day, so appreciate everybody being here. So first of all, welcome to the first General Laws meeting for 2025 session. Before we get into the business, Clerk, if you can please open the roll for attendance. And we're off to a roaring start. All right, we appear to be experiencing technical difficulties off the bat, so I'm going to just start with kind of introductory remarks, which I don't believe requires a quorum. In fact, we might lose some people after I say introductory remarks if I go on too long. But let me just say, again, welcome. It's an honor to be here. I'm David Bulova, and it's a pleasure to be able to serve as chair of General Laws this year. For those of you who aren't familiar with General Laws in the audience, we deal with a huge range of issues dealing with alcohol, gaming, cannabis, procurement, Freedom of Information Act, regulation of professions and occupations, the administration of government, housing, symbols of the Commonwealth, cemeteries, conflict of interest, consumer affairs, and then anything that doesn't fit neatly within one of our sister committees. So we do a lot of great stuff. And I think the takeaway from that list is that the work we do affects millions of lives across the Commonwealth and thousands of businesses. So it is really, really important. As usual, we have a heavy docket this year. And so I believe that at the last count, we had 44 bills assigned. I'm sure more have come rolling in. Based on past experience, the clerk thinks it will probably triple that amount by the time this is all through. So we will work as efficiently as possible, but also as thoroughly possible as we can. Just want to say thank you in advance to a couple of groups. First of all, we do most of our work in subcommittee, and so I do want to recognize those individuals who are subcommittee chairs. That is Delegate Krizik with ABC and Gaming, and so those are on Tuesday afternoons. Delegate Carr, my vice chair, is the chair of Procurement and Open Government, also on Tuesdays. Professions, Occupations, and Administrative Processes is Delegate Delaney. That's Thursday afternoon. And then Housing and Consumer Protection is Delegate Simon, also on Thursdays. Of course, the real people who keep things moving along and make us all look good are our clerks and our DLS attorneys. And so I do want to recognize George Kane, who is our clerk. And he actually came in with me back when I was new in 2005. So he absolutely knows the ropes. And I also want to recognize Robin Bird, who is our room clerk. So let's give a big round of applause to the people for their great work. And then we're also really glad to have two very, very capable attorneys. And so Ashley Benz has been with General Laws for a number of years. And then new to General Laws, but not new to DLS, is Taylor May. So let's give them a big round of applause. So they are our fantastic resources. Before we go around and just have everybody give a quick introduction to themselves so that you know the cast of characters that we have up here on the dais, I also want to say thank you to probably the most important group, and that is the people out there who participate in this public process. And so whether you are an advocate, a group lobbying for an organization, or also people advocating on individual businesses or just as an individual resident. We value your input, and you are absolutely the lifeblood of this process. And so really, really glad to have everybody, really glad to have not just a great team up on the dais, but a great team to weigh in on the policy arguments that we'll be considering over the next couple of weeks. And so with this, let's really quickly, starting down there with Delegate Elizabeth Bennett Parker, just say who you are, your district, and what you do for a living outside of the General Assembly.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm Delegate Elizabeth Bennett Parker. I represent the 5th District, which is in Alexandria. Outside of here, I am the mom of a toddler and used to work with a nonprofit working with women returning from the criminal justice system.
Hi, my name is Holly Siebold. I represent the 12th District, which is Northern Fairfax, Tysons, Vienna, Dunloring, Merrifield. Outside of here, I'm also a mother to 2 kids, and I work in the nonprofit sector.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Delegate Joshua Cole, representing the 65th House District, which is the city of Fredericksburg, southern Stafford County, and northern Spotsylvania County. And I am a full-time student at the University of Mary Washington in the 65th District and an assistant pastor at Union Bell Baptist Church. Thank you.
Delegate Josh Thomas, District 21, which is Western Prince William County. I'm a commercial real estate attorney and new dad.
I'm Delegate Jed Arnold. I represent the 46th House District, which is all of Grayson County, part of Pulaski County, then all of Smith and Wythe counties, and I am a private attorney. I got you. You're good.
Thank you so much. So I am Delegate Ellen Campbell. I am from the 36th House District, which includes the city of Stanton, the city of Waynesboro, southern Augusta, and northern Rockbridge. I recently left banking after about 30 years of service to pursue this and take care of our constituents full time.
Good afternoon, Bill Wiley, 32nd District, Frederick County, City of Winchester. I'm in construction and work for a regional general contractor, and I'm a father of 3 teenage boys.
Good afternoon. I'm Rob Blocks. I'm the 100th District, which is the Eastern Shore and a sliver of Virginia Beach. I have auto parts stores and a repair shop.
Delegate Terry Alston. I represent the 37th House District. I'm a retired contractor.
Hi, I'm Carrie Coiner. I represent the 75th District, home to portions of Chesterfield County, Prince George County, and the entire city of Hopewell. I'm the mom of 3 teenagers as well. I'm going into my 23rd year in private practice in commercial and residential real estate and small business.
Here you go. I'm Delegate Buddy Fowler. That's 59th House District, which comprises parts of Hanover County, Henrico, and Louisa. I'm retired, so I spend most of my time here either fishing or I like to rabbit hunt with my beagles. We're known as the Mean Girls. And then I have a great bird dog named Fritz. So that's what I do. So thank you.
Hello, I'm Will Moorfield, representing the 43rd District, a large area in Southwest Virginia. I come from a long line of coal miners, and I'm the father of 3 children, 1 son, 2 daughters, and I am in the coal business.
Jay Leftwich. I represent the 90th House District, which is the southeastern part of Chesapeake. I want to throw my friend Delegate Wiley a glimmer of hope here. I have 2 teenage boys who made it out of their teenage years without killing themselves or each other. I currently have a present teenage boy, which is I'm beginning to lose my hair on that one. And I have 2 daughters who are graduating one from Virginia Tech and one from JMU this spring. And in real life, I play that role as an attorney.
I'm Delegate Barry Knight, representing the 98th District, which is the southern half of Virginia Beach. And to give the previous 2 gentlemen some hope, I've got 3 sons that all 3 of them are married, and I've got 4 grandchildren, so there's hope for you gentlemen yet.
Richmond, Virginia. Previously worked in outreach at St. Paul's Episcopal Church. I have 3 grown sons who made it, and now I'm working with 3 grandchildren who live nearby.
Good afternoon. I'm Delegate Luke Torian. I represent the 24th House District in Prince William County, the eastern part of the county. And yeah, that's my story.
Good afternoon. I'm Delegate Cia Price. I represent the 85th District, which is, I was about to say the best parts of Newport News, but I love my whole city. And I work for a nonprofit that's in civics education and leadership development. And we'll put in another plug for full-time legislators so that we don't have to all quit our jobs and start new ones in order to represent the people.
Hello, I'm Paul Krizak, and I represent the wonderful 16th district of it's Fairfax County, southeastern part, but it's got the beautiful Mount Vernon, home of our first president, George Washington, who had this seat many years ago, and I'm proud to say. And I am the father of an amazing daughter who's in grad school right now, and an attorney who represents a family of nonprofits.
Mr. Chairman, I am Delegate Marcus Simon. I represent the lucky 13th district in the House of Delegates, which is the city of Falls Church and mostly actually Fairfax County, parts of Falls Church. In my day job, I am a real estate attorney and I own a title company with a number of offices across Northern Virginia. So mostly residential resale transactions and title and some title research, occasionally litigation, but usually when I'm dropping off somebody else's money at the courthouse. And I can keep talking for as long as you need me to, or I can turn it back over. I don't know if we're stalling.
You're good. You're not stalling,
okay.
but.
All right.
And I'm David Bulova. I represent the 11th House District, so that's the city of Fairfax, parts of central Fairfax County with George Mason University. I have 3 wonderful kids, 2 boys and a girl, and in real life I work for an engineering and environmental consulting firm specializing in stormwater and Chesapeake Bay restoration. And what I love about those introductions is it just shows you the range of real life experience that these committee members bring to the table, and I think that makes the debate and conversation even richer. So at least 7 people have figured out that the roll is open and technology is working. So at this point, since the roll is open, if people would like to indicate their presence on the electronic voting board. All right, clerk, close the roll, and we have a quorum present. Okay. Just really briefly before we get into the business of today, so we've got some very brief business items, and then we have a presentation that I hope folks will be able to stick around for because it's actually on a really important topic. Number one, please try to use your right to speak button. If I don't see it, wave your hands wildly, and that will catch my attention if I don't notice. Try to remember that it's one question or comment per recognition. I'm more than happy to have people go through and ask multiple questions or comments. Just make sure that you take a pause and let me moderate the conversation. Remember that we are both here in person and being live streamed, so just be very cognizant that we live in both the real and virtual worlds, and so that means making sure that your microphone is on so that the virtual audience can hear us. Most of our debate is expected to happen in subcommittee. We've got really great subcommittee chairs and a really strong process. So the idea is to debate in subcommittees and not rehash those issues in full committee. I will say, though, that every member of this committee has a right to ask questions or make remarks or comments on any piece of legislation that comes through. And if there is a stakeholder group that did not have an opportunity to speak to a measure in subcommittee, we'll allow them to have the opportunity to give remarks if possible. Please, if you can, make sure that amendments are done in subcommittee. It's really hard with as many items that we have on our docket to try to manage those during the full committee. And please ensure that you get those to our DLS attorneys in as much time as possible. I will note that if you do, and sometimes it is necessary to have amendments in full committee, that will also trigger the ability for additional stakeholder discussion. And if there's a lot of discussion, so if it's a controversial amendment, chances are it's going to go back to the subcommittee so that can be vetted out. With so many items on the docket also, if we do have some big issues, and we do sometimes have some big issues, this room has been packed at points, we will exercise time limits, and that's both at the subcommittee and also the committee levels. And then finally, I just want to get back to our earlier remark, which is that what we do really does matter. Couldn't be more proud of the people that we have at this dais to help make those tough decisions. So please come prepared to explore, debate, and learn, but really kind of 3 fundamentals here, which is if a bill is ready for prime time, that's great. Sometimes bills aren't ready for prime time, and so we should recognize that too, and if it's necessary to slow something down, we should slow something down. And then finally, we often get a lot of bills that sound really good. They got a lot of promise. We might not have the time or the capacity to work through those details, and the details do matter during the session. And so we have fantastic groups that meet all year round that can help vet bills. And so this includes things like the Housing Commission, FOIA Council, Procurement Work Group, just to name a few. And so there's absolutely nothing wrong with sending bills to one of these groups out of session to be able to work through the details, because we ultimately want to make sure that we get things right. Does anybody have any questions? All right, so we're going to leap right into business. And so our first order of business is House Bill 1681. The patron has asked for us to strike that bill. Do I have a motion to strike HB 1681? It's been properly moved and seconded. I believe that is a recorded vote. Clerk, open the roll.
Open again. Is it up there? There it goes. Very slow.
There we go. That's it. All right, clerk, close the roll. That bill is stricken from the docket 21-0. Our next block, we will take this in a block unless anybody has any objections. We've got a number of bills that were referred to us, but upon further reflection, the Speaker has asked that these be referred to other committees. House Bill 1571, Delegate Runyon, to Health and Human Services. House Bill 1777, Delegate Sullivan, to Health and Human Services. House Bill 1816, Delegate Campbell, to CTI. House Bill 1624, Delegate Thomas, to CTI. House Bill 1738, Delegate Reed, to Public Safety. And House Bill 1759, Delegate Gardner, to Public Safety. Does anybody have any comment or questions on that? If not, I would entertain a motion.
Second.
All right, it's been properly moved and seconded that we refer those to those respective committees. This is a voice vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, those bills are properly referred. And while I think we got a couple people here who have to leave in a couple of seconds, the next order of business is we do have 3 bills on the docket. One of them, though, we are going to refer to the Housing Subcommittee, and so that is House Bill 1719. So we will not hear that today. We will refer that to the Housing Subcommittee. But we have 2 other bills that should look pretty familiar to people because they passed out of general laws and they were vetoed by the governor, and now they've been reintroduced. We would certainly welcome the patrons to say a couple of remarks, but most of you all should pretty much know where you stood on these bills to begin with. And so maybe if we want to start with Delegate Hayes, if you'd like to present House Bill 1638.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Members of the committee, do I need to? Oh, there we go. You have before you House Bill 1638. I do have an amendment to that legislation, Mr. Chairman.
All right, Delegate Hayes, is this the same amendment that we had worked on with Delegate Simon, or is this a different one?
I believe so, but I do believe that there's another ask as well.
Okay.
You have the one regarding the delayed enactment?
Yeah, Ashley, maybe if you could report the amendments, and then Delegate Simon, if you could just confirm that it comports with what yours does. Okay.
Mr. Chairman, it's my understanding it's actually an amendment in the nature of a substitute. And it should be available on LIS, hopefully. It first and foremost aligns the House bill with Senate Bill 1128, patroned by Senator Lucas. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And then there are additional amendments that are not online, but I believe the patron would like to discuss conceptually to add a line amendment to that substitute for a delayed enactment clause that would provide the provisions of the first enactment of the bill would be delayed until January 1st, 2026.
Okay. And I guess Delegate Hayes, if my understanding is correct, Delegate Simon's amendment would add on to that?
Mr. Chairman, no. So the amendment that I was proposing, I think that council has, is the one she just described. So the bill as written would have go into effect July 1st of 2025. It also has a work group developing standards for folks to apply, also starting on July 1st, 2025. And so my suggestion was that a delayed enactment for the first enactment, so the part where you actually have to do it, would be delayed until January of 2026. But starting on July 1st, 2026, the work group would have to get together and develop the form that folks would have to apply. So basically, the two enactments, one is to do the substantive change to the law. The second enactment was to have a work group, and we need to stagger those. So you need the work group to meet first, then you have a delayed enactment so that the second part, which is dependent on the work group having completed their work, would come at 6 months later. Well, okay. Yeah, 6 months later.
Okay. Delegate Hayes, I'm going to make a suggestion just for the sake of time, and so we don't have to send this back through the subcommittee process, is not to try to second guess what the body down the hall might do with the bill, and just run with, I guess, the mechanical issue in terms of the timing that Delegate Simon went ahead and spoke about. Is that fair? Is that okay?
I do accept that, Mr.
Okay.
Chairman. I do. There is one other, and that is to add another group there, the Home Builders Association of Virginia, to those who will be.
Okay. Okay.
So, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, Delegate Simon.
So I know the clerk reported a substitute, so I move that we reject the substitute reported by the clerk. Is that?
I don't know that anybody made a motion.
Which is on that? All right. So I would move, first I move a line amendment to add a third enactment clause that says that the provisions of the first enactment clause would have a delayed effective date until January 1st, 2026.
Okay.
So everybody,
all right. So properly moved and seconded. Does any member of the committee have any questions about what we're doing? All right.
Just to be clear for me, you're reporting with amendments, not with the substitute.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, this will be reporting with at least one amendment, maybe two. Okay. All right. All those in favor of the amendment say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, that amendment is adopted. And then we have a second amendment. Delegate Simon?
Yeah, so on, let me get to the line number here. Sorry. I think what we're saying is on line 321, at the end of the line, after Virginia Poverty Law Center. Actually, we can do it after Legal Aid Justice Center, so we don't have to remove the and. So on line 321, after Legal Aid Justice Center, comma, insert, what's the name of the group, Delegate Hayes?
Home Builders Association of Virginia.
After Legal Aid Justice Center, insert Home Builders Association of Virginia. What that effectively does is add one more group to the work group that's working on the first enactment clause.
Very good. All right, do we have, put that in a form of a motion?
So I so move. Again, on line 321, after Legal Aid Justice Center, add Home Builders Association of Virginia.
All right, and it's been properly moved and seconded. And Ashley, do you have that?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, and Delegate Simon, just to clarify, we're doing this to the introduced bill and not the substitute, correct?
Correct, the introduced bill.
Understood.
Hey,
Thank you.
Delegate Cole, come back here real quick.
Won't take long.
He tried. Okay. Any further discussion or comment? Hearing none. All those in favor of the amendment, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed. All right, that amendment is adopted. All right, Delegate Hayes, you want to give the 30-second version of what the bill does? And
Absolutely. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, this is to establish a model criminal history screening policy to pretty much create a fair chance and access for those that are state financially supported rental housing. We just happen to believe that regardless of the nature of an offense, that an applicant should have access to affordable housing here in the Commonwealth of Virginia without being prohibited according to their past criminal history of felonies. It should be a part of the consideration, but it should not be a barring, if you will, to affordable housing here in the Commonwealth of Virginia. This legislation will align with the federal policy on the same matter, and we hope that the committee acts favorably upon it.
Okay. Does any member of the committee have any questions or comments? Delegate Simon.
Move to report.
All right, it's been properly moved to report and seconded. Any further discussion? Clerk, open the roll. Clerk, close the roll. That bill reports with amendments 11 to 10. Thank you, Delegate Hayes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee.
Nope. All right, we got one more, and that is Delegate Price, House Bill 1719. Delegate Price, you want to describe your bill?
Yes, thank you. Members, as you'll remember, under current law, localities can respond to slumlords by taking them to court, but usually the resolutions are fines that often cost less than the changes needed at the property or condemning the property. Neither of these fixes help the tenants get what they need in order to have safer and healthier living conditions, and local officials typically only want to condemn the properties when it's absolutely necessary because there's lack of housing to replace it, and they don't want to increase the number of individuals experiencing being unhoused. The language of the bill has not changed from your vote last year, but what has changed is an increase in number of people that need their localities to be able to help them for the number of slumlords we unfortunately have in Virginia. This bill would grant localities the authority to enforce the health and safety provisions of the the VRLTA, and therefore help them protect the communities they serve. We have been trying this bill since 2022, and since then we have gotten bipartisan support and have over 40 organizations that support the bill because hopefully our hatred of slumlords can unify us. So with that, Mr. Chair, that is the bill, and I can answer any questions.
Thank you, Delegate Price. And I did misspeak. I said 1719, and you correctly picked up on it being 1718. So just want to make sure we corrected that. Does any member of the committee have any questions or comments? All right, seeing none, it's been a motion to report and second. Further discussion? Seeing none, clerk, open the roll. All right, clerk, close the roll. That bill reports 12 to 9. All right, thank you very much. Okay, we got one final item, and this is a presentation that I hope everybody can stick around for before our subcommittees start. So I think as most people who have been around general laws for a couple years know, we have gone from 0 to 100 miles per hour with respect to gaming in the Commonwealth of Virginia. And that has resulted in a patchwork of different regulatory agencies who manage gaming in the Commonwealth. And so it not only results in inefficiencies, but it also means that we don't have experts that we can turn to about how all these items work together, how we ensure that enforcement is seamless, and also how we keep on top of emerging issues. I did want to commend Delegate Krizik for sponsoring the Joint Commission on the feasibility of establishing a gaming commission. I just think it's really funny that we got a commission on the feasibility of establishing another commission. It's a mouthful, but the body actually worked really, really well together over, I think it's more than a year and a half, if I recall. And so you're going to see the results of this work during this session. This is a priority, both of I think of many of the members of this body, but also of the administration. And so we wanted to make sure that everybody had a little bit of an overview of the context for the commission and some of the moving parts that were considered. And so really pleased to have with us Colin Hood, the director of Guidehouse, who is the consultant who helped work through that process and has spent literally hundreds of hours helping to put together something that would work for Virginia based on the experiences of other states. Before I invite Colin up, Paul, did you want to say any comments before the presentation?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just briefly, of course, you can never have too many commissions. But
Yeah, you can, yeah.
But I do want to introduce, I want to thank the chairman for introducing Colin Hood and the Guidehouse team. We've been working, as the chairman mentioned, for over a year and a half. It seems like a decade, frankly, but it's a very important project that we've been working on, and the subcommittee to study the feasibility of establishing the Virginia Gaming Commission. And remember, this all started from a JLARC study prior to that, and that recommended that we do just what we did. And we are very close to, we're ready, we're at the final gate here, and we're going to have a great presentation on where we're at with the Gaming Commission for the Commonwealth. The commission ultimately voted for the plan you're about to hear, and what we expect is that this new Virginia Gaming Commission will serve the Commonwealth as a single point of contact for gaming expertise and regulation, and as an important tool for public safety concerning coordinated problem gambling prevention and treatment efforts. And with everything that's coming down the pike right now, the evolving gaming landscape, I can't think of a better time to get going on this. And so without further ado, would Colin Hood and his team please come to the podium and make your presentation? Thank you.
Thank you, Colin. Floor is yours.
Absolutely. Mr. Chair, members of the committee, thank you for the opportunity to come and share our results from our study. As mentioned, we began working with the Joint Subcommittee in the March-April timeframe, and then concluded with a set of recommendations shared in November. I was asked to be brief. This was certainly an extensive study, so I'm going to cover the highlights, but no, I have many visuals with me here today that we can go through in detail if people have questions. So hopefully that provides ample time for questions and to have conversation. As mentioned, my name is Colin Hood. I'm a director in Guidehouse's state and local government business. We're a management and technology consulting firm of about 18,000 practitioners. We are headquartered here in Virginia, so about 4,000 of our colleagues live in the Commonwealth or the DC area. So we're always excited to have an opportunity to support a project here at home. And these is the type of work that we focus on across the country. I do want to give a special thank you to the agencies who also supported this effort, and it is a long list, from the Virginia Lottery to VDAX to the Virginia Racing Commission to the Department of Accounts, DHRM, Tax, VITA, the Division of Legislative Services, JLARC, DPB, the Virginia State Police, the Problem Gambling Council, and Behavioral Health. This was certainly a comprehensive effort in an attempt to gather a lot of data that doesn't exist today in a single place. It's one of the pain points that's been highlighted as an input into this work. So I want to provide an overview of our recommendations, but also give you all some context on where we are today and how we got to this point. As mentioned, there was initially a JLARC report, a joint subcommittee established. We were contracted by the Division of Legislative Services to begin this work. There were several stages to the work, certainly a study on what's taking place across the country, a comprehensive cost-benefit analysis, and a succinct set of recommendations that led to a vote in the August to fall timeframe. This is a brief snapshot of the current landscape of gambling and gaming in Virginia. This is dated from when we shared it back in June. There's a couple things I think to note from this brief graphic. One, it really is a diverse landscape, and it's continuing to evolve and to evolve rapidly. You'll also note that reporting periods are different, reporting requirements are different, and there really isn't, in today's environment, a single source of truth for this information. This is something that has to be aggregated by partnering with several agencies to pull together for even a simple visual like this. Certainly very different than the landscape or the graphic that would be generated 10 years ago, for example. We did ultimately answer the question of, is a gaming commission feasible, with a definitive yes. We do believe the benefits of a consolidated gaming commission certainly outweigh the one-time cost to stand up this organization. And there's several benefits that we think are noteworthy to highlight. Certainly this consolidated version includes a wide range of gaming types and functions, from sports wagering to casinos to charitable gaming, fantasy contests, HHR, several components related to live horse racing, and new gaming types. As in today's environment, there's not a clear home for new gaming types approved by the General Assembly. This target operating model will help the Commonwealth move forward in a way that's more cost-effective than has been occurred in the past, which is really fragmented in handling new gaming types on a case-by-case basis. We do believe that over time, the regulatory needs for Virginia and the costs associated with regulating these gaming types will increase as new gaming types continue to grow or new gaming types enter the marketplace. And this Gaming Commission will help the Commonwealth approach it in a cost-conscious way. It will also provide the insight and information that you will need as policymakers to respond to new regulatory and oversight needs from emerging gaming types. You all will continue to see emerging gaming types across the country. Your colleagues in other states are assessing new gaming types, and the trend is expected to continue. We believe that this model will also help maintain the Commonwealth's current commitment to the horse racing and charitable gaming industries. We know that's incredibly important. It was something that was made clear to us at the beginning of our work, and we've embedded that into this model. We do hope to capture long-term forecasted economies of scale and operational efficiencies, and that ranges from staffing to technology with any large organization designed to scale. This organization will increase transparency. As I mentioned, one of the pain points in current landscape today is around reporting, is around information, is around data, and a consolidated model will be the platform for pulling that together, and also creating consistent accountability in the enforcement of the regulations of this body. Facilitate a consistent statewide problem gambling strategy across gaming types. That is a gap in today's current environment, is certainly a growing problem according to experts who study problem gambling from a behavioral health lens. We believe the Gaming Commission can not only stand up a statewide strategy, but support the implementation of that. Clarify points of contact for key stakeholders, whether that be the Virginia State Police, legislators, local law enforcement. Today, gaming questions are being asked across the Commonwealth and across different levels of government, and there is not a single resource or point of contact to give them the information and access they need to both understand existing laws and regulations, but how they should facilitate new ones. This will be encouraged, hopefully, through effective collaboration through some of the new offices that are included in this model, ranging from gaming enforcement to external affairs and policy, which would work closely with the legislative body. So this is a short list with a lot of extensive data and information behind it, and we'll capture those in some of the recommendations over the next few slides. There are 13 recommendations in total about how the Joint Subcommittee should move forward when it comes to a Gaming Commission. As a reminder, our focus was operational in nature, the feasibility of standing that up. There's certainly other considerations on the policy and the standards lens, but as we think about the Commonwealth's best position to establish a new organization focused on gaming to improve the current landscape today, these are the 13 recommendations that were outputs of our work. The first recommendation is consolidating all gaming regulatory and oversight operations in the Commonwealth, with the exception of the Virginia Lottery, which I'll speak to in a moment, into an independent, centralized Virginia Gaming Commission. When I speak about the Virginia Lottery, I am specifically referencing the traditional lottery and the iLottery types, not their current casinos and sports wagering responsibilities that were assigned to the lottery recently. Structuring the Virginia Gaming Commission to maximize forecasted economy of scale, facilitate cross-training, and leverage best practices within similar functions across different gaming types. That's very hard for the existing agencies to achieve today. They sit in different parts of government. They are working with very different types of stakeholders, but also have similar types of functions. And that's something that we think is noteworthy, and we've included significant detail in that area as well. Creating the Virginia Gaming Commission Board and assigning it regulatory and oversight responsibilities over all gaming types with the exception of the lottery. And this is different than the non-gaming matters related to horse racing, which I'll speak to in a moment. When we talk about the lottery, we do recommend keeping a distinct organization focused on its current mission of operationalizing and administering the lottery and the iLottery functions, and I'll speak to that more in detail in a moment. Directing the Charitable Gaming Board to advise the Virginia Gaming Commission on all aspects of the conduct of charitable gaming in Virginia. This is such an important function currently serving VDACs today, and we certainly believe it should be maintained for the Virginia Gaming Commission. Establishing a problem gambling division in the VGC that would coordinate with local, state, and federal partners to both manage problem gambling research, prevention, recovery, and the actual statewide strategy around these areas. This is not duplicative to existing efforts today, both occurring at the Problem Gambling Council and Behavioral Health. This is an additional function to coordinate those resources in the best interest of the Commonwealth. establishing an external affairs and policy division in the VGC to recommend gaming policy decisions to legislators and communicate with relevant stakeholders in Virginia. As you all approach new policy decisions related to gaming, the intent of this group is to conduct the research and analysis that you will need to understand the impact of those decisions, and whether that be the impact to existing gaming types, impact to the lottery, other interests of the Commonwealth. Today, that central function does not exist. Establish the executive leadership team in the VGC and define roles and responsibilities with clear division of duties, including elevating the role of Executive Secretary of Racing. I have a visual that we'll walk through here in a moment. Maintain existing beneficiaries of revenue stream from each gaming type. Each of the gaming types today have distinct beneficiaries of those revenue streams. And we certainly believe that this model could maintain and should maintain those revenue streams. I know that is ultimately a policy decision, but this model can certainly maintain the status quo of beneficiaries and was designed to do so. Directing the Virginia Gaming Commission to review consolidating technology systems to increase efficiency of core functions. There are differing degrees of technology available to stakeholders who are, whether they're operating a gaming function, whether they're operating a charity involved in gaming, and this consolidation will improve the experience for all those stakeholders engaged. Directing the Virginia Gaming Commission to develop a standardized approach for reporting to the General Assembly on a regular basis across all gaming types. This is something that we've seen move forward across the country, pulling together consolidated reports on how gaming is impacting both the economy, impacting the state, and having a central resource to consolidate this information will make that information available to you all. I do mention that we do believe that the lottery should remain a distinct organization. They have very different cultures. The entrepreneurial marketing culture of administering the Commonwealth's gaming function, which is the lottery and the iLottery, is very distinct and different than a regulatory body focused on implementing and determining regulations on behalf of the Commonwealth. While some states have moved forward with consolidating those, I think the pain point at the moment is filling existing gaps, which is on the regulatory front. Given that, we do think it's important to prioritize standing up a Virginia Gaming Commission, focusing on its regulatory responsibilities, getting through that transition, and then considering any potential consolidation. There's certainly benefits from consolidating staff, right, and consolidating technologies and sharing office space, et cetera. But we do think the Commonwealth will be in a much better position years down the road once the VGC is stood up and running to do the analysis that those benefits outweigh the cost and the potential risk to the lottery and its productivity today. I do want to share one illustrative concept of an organizational model. And as we think about organizational models and org charts as practitioners, you get to a point in the process where the individuals and the management styles and the capabilities and competencies of the leadership team have an impact on the model. This is agnostic to that. So this really is a concept, but it shows you how the new organization could operate today, the general numbers of staff that would transition from the lottery into a Virginia Gaming Commission. I did note we do recommend it be an independent agency. There are a number of benefits to it being an independent agency. All gaming commissions in the country are currently independent agencies. And that's not only for the flexibility and the nimbleness it's provided as an organization, but also to have a strong governance and a model that's built around independence, which we think is very important. What you're looking at today is an organizational concept that highlights, on the right-hand side, some of the new functions that would be stood up. These are gaps that are not available to both the state, to local partners in executing and implementing these regulations, but certainly to you all as the legislature. But this is how we would merge some of those teams. You see in the middle, there are similarities in some of the functions ranging from compliance to audit to licensing. And there's opportunities to enhance there. There's also opportunities to bring in the important skill sets and resources across these different gaming types. There are unique skill sets and knowledge associated with charitable gaming, certainly on horse racing and the gaming types associated with live horse racing today, whether it be pari-mutuel wagering from a broader sense or whether it be HHR specifically. We think it's critical to keep those organizations together, which is why you see those staff supporting these two governance boards, while also meeting the broad goal of having one organization focused on the broad sense of all gaming in Virginia, that with the exception of the Commonwealth's own gaming agency, which is the lottery. So I'll pause there, Mr. Chair, and take any questions that anyone may have.
Great. Thank you very much, and really appreciate that overview. It was a lot of information crammed into just a couple of slides, and so we appreciate you moving through those quickly, but also giving us enough information to react and respond to. And again, this is something that we'll be going through ABC Gaming Subcommittee, but it is tough when you're setting up an entirely new organization, and so I want to make sure everybody has a sense of what that is going to look like and what some of the decision points are. But do we have any questions from members of the committee? Delegate Carr.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Hood. Thank you so much for your work and your presentation. I've had concerns expressed to me just about the equine industry because it is unique and the thought that their interests really need to be protected. So how will the interest of the equine industry and horse racing be protected in this?
Yeah, I think that's an outstanding question, and thank you for asking it. And I'm not sure if we're able to pull that visual with the model back up, because I'd love to highlight that. We've tried to do several things to embolden the Commonwealth's commitment to both charitable gaming but also horse racing. One, we think it's important that HHR and the staff that support HHR, the skill sets that are available to the Commonwealth to make decisions around what the regulations should look like, how they should be implemented, need to stay with the function that's also supporting live horse racing. We think that really is important. I think one of the gaps that we observe today as new gaming types are considered, there is no formal mechanism to consult or to understand the impact to existing gaming types, including horse racing, right, and HHR, for example. So what we've done in this model is we've moved the staff currently supporting the Virginia Racing Commission. We've kept them with the Gaming Commission, giving them the opportunity to continue to support both the Virginia Racing Commission, which will continue to focus on the bulk of its work, which is on non-gaming matters. As we've looked at the last few years of agendas, 86% of the topics of the Virginia Racing Commission are focused on incredibly important but non-gaming related topics, whether that be equine health or a jockey license or certainly a laundry list of things to focus. Those meetings would continue today and continue to be supported by the same staff. Those staff would just also have additional responsibilities and additional exposure to the broader gaming ecosystem. So we've actually adjusted the title of Executive Secretary of Racing to Executive Secretary of Racing and Deputy Commissioner of Gaming, because we do believe that individual should have broader responsibility and broader engagement in the decisions of gaming across the Commonwealth. So as the Virginia Gaming Commission considers new gaming types, reviews the analysis of what new gaming types will take place in the Commonwealth and what the impact would be, they'll have a seat at the table. The intent is to have a seat at the table to understand and to share the impact on HHR, on racing, and the existing commitments of the Commonwealth.
Great. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Any other questions? Mr. Hood? Delegate Fowler.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just briefly, how are the Gaming Commission itself, how they have people appointed to the board, I suspect, and are those gubernatorial appointments?
It's a great question, sir, and I can't speak specifically to the bill. Our recommendation was to leverage the success of the Virginia Lottery Board. It's worked very successfully. I think there's a few attributes that I think are very important. And I will preface, when we start to move, when we talk about board appointments, out of the operational lens into an area of policy where there's several ways to operationalize different boards. And Delegate Kriesek could certainly speak to how the current bill focuses on those board appointments. My understanding is they currently are gubernatorial. Our recommendation was to follow the success of the Lottery Board, both in that sense, but also having individuals not affiliated with the industries serve on the Gaming Commission board. Independent. So this would not be representatives from the industries. These would be independent civilians.
Great question, Delegate Fowler.
I'm good, thank you.
Yep.
Absolutely.
All right. Seeing no further questions, thank you, Mr. Hood. Thank you for you and your team and all your hard work. All right. It is going to be an exciting next couple of weeks, folks. In case you are interested in that presentation, I was told that you can find the presentation online as part of the agenda for today's meeting. 15 minutes after this meeting, we'll leap right into our subcommittees. So first up is ABC Gaming. And then after ABC Gaming will be Procurement and Open Government. Do we have any further comments for the good of the order? All right, if not, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
It's been properly moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, we're adjourned. Thank you.